store, stepped on some gum. Walked by a horse, said, do you want to come? Here, one a dog, reminds me of my mom. Her ice cream and sauce, while I write the song. Bag of tea, climb a tree. Don't you know, sucks to be me.
Hello, everybody. So today we are going to talk about recording live on the DP32, DP24 with 8 inputs. Just 8 inputs. That's all we need for this. Well, it depends on the band you have, really. I did a video a long time ago on this, like looking at my notes. It was 2018 or 2019. So it's been a while. I'm smarter now because I know more about how this machine works since then. So let's talk about it. So the first thing I would suggest is when you do a live recording, like if you're recording your band's practice, rehearsal, whatever, use a fresh SD card. Just make sure you have as much room as you can. Like I'm not saying that you're going to run out of room. You probably won't. I also suggest using a 32 gig. Then you definitely won't run out of room. You can put a lot on a 32 gig, believe it or not. And then, yeah, go from there. We'll go from there. So now if you're going to end up using your DP32 as your PA, well, we'll talk about that in a sec. So yeah, so this comes out because I was asked about recording live off the floor, and do I have to do this? Do I have to do that? And the guy ends up, and I end up saying, well, you know what? Depending on what you need, maybe the model series would be better because they are geared for that kind of stuff, for doing live off the floor recordings, doing more of a live show. They're designed for that kind of use. I just used mine. We had a barbershop choir that we did a concert. I used it for that. It was great. It's just easier. It's nicer. It's got everything's there. Outputs, mains, control room, everything you need. Whereas your DP system, let's look at it here. Your DP system here is just that. So it is just a straight. This is designed for somebody who's recording themselves or recording a few people, not trying to do anything live. But you can do it. There's always workarounds. So first things first, what would I do if I was doing this? Well, first I'd figure out what do I need. Now, I haven't used it as a live recording system since 2018, 2019. That's last time I did it. So, and the way we did it was we would we would have tracks 1 to 8 set up to go. And that's the best way to do it. Now, I was hoping I would find the old jam sessions. I actually pulled out an SD card that said jam sessions on it. There was nothing there. I went through a bunch of old hard drives that I have floating around that I keep data on just because I might need it one day. Nothing there. I ended up looking on other stuff as well to see if I could find something. I'm being pestered by the cat. And stuff like that, trying to figure out how if I had old versions so I could show what we did. But I can talk about it. It's easy to talk about. So first off, we set up, so once again, I said, work out what you need. That's the first thing. So what do you need? Well, you're going to need vocals. You're going to need guitar, if you're playing guitar, bass, and drums. That's pretty much your basics. Now, we were a 3-piece. There was 2 vocals, guitar, bass, and drums. That was about it. So the way we set it up, and I'll just show you on the inputs here, was 1 was vocal, 2, B was vocal, C was drums, it was guitar, D was bass, and then E and F were kick, snare, and then overheads. Now, if you don't have enough room for that, but you do have a little mixer, I suggest putting the drums on 2 channels, and then doing a stereo track of the drums, and then using the mixer to mix your drums the way you want them. So you're kind of stuck with it, but that's the way it goes. So you whatever you mix, that's how your drums are going to sound in the end. Like I said, we were lucky because we were able to have a guitar. We only had 1 guitar and 1 bass. So that made it easy. Like the other option is if you only have one vocalist, then you have option for 2 guitars right there. But yeah, so that's the way we did it. Now, things that I've learned since we did this. So first off, the easiest thing to do is in your assignment, let's go onto the screen over here. So as you can see, I have it assigned to, everything is assigned from 1 to 8 is A, B, the inputs. That's the easiest way. So you just hit set default. So just hit default and then it'll do that for you. So I'll just clear it to show you. So I just cleared it and then I'll hit default. There. Easy. Set up, ready to go. I also recommend naming the files, your jam session, what it's going to be, so that when you go back, you know what it is. I generally do year, month, day, because when you're sorting, it generally it sits it properly in the list. So that's how I would do it. And you call it I think I used to call it JS underscore, and then like it would have been 2018, the month, so like February 02, and then the day 29. Get off my keyboard. Sorry, cat's bothering me here. Didn't want her to knock it over. So that's what you do. So that's I would set up the file that way so you know what you need. Now this is something that I learned. Okay, so I'm just going to explain this to you. So first off, then what you do is just turn on all the tracks that you have and set them to record. So there, let's go back to home for a second. So now you can see I have all the tracks that I'm using. Now, the thing that I didn't know, which I know now, is that you don't have to have faders up if you don't want to hear it. You can still record it. You don't have to hear it. So what that means is that, let's say I don't have, because the way I used to do this was I would track 1, I would go into mixer, I would turn on effects 1, I would use the outboard effects send it into my amp, which is this guy. Let me just show you here. This guy right down here. That was what we were using. We were using a Behringer PMP 550, I think is what it's called. And I bought a rack mounted one because my goal at the time was that this was going to be portable, and I was going to take this wherever we were going to do shows. And then we had a rack here. These are dreams. I had down at the bottom, I had the amp for it. So all this stuff would just come with me. So this was all compact. And honestly, it's a good idea to have it that way. It just works better. So excuse me. So that's first. So then that's what I would do. I would put it in there. Now I'll pull it out. I had a hum problem, so I ended up buying. Show you here. Change the screen. Oops, change the screen. I bought. I can show it better off like this. Here we go. I bought this at a pawn shop. This is a hum destroyer. It is a Behringer hum destroyer. It is a two input output system. So I'd have vocal 1 come into input 1, vocal 2 come into input 2 here, and then output. This would output into the PA system. It would take out, because we're getting a hum, because you get that hum when two things are working on different frequencies or whatever. They're both sending signals across. So we did that. So that was the easiest way to do it, was just use one of these to get rid of the hum. But now that I know this new trick, this is better. Like I said, all I would do now is, if I were to do this today, I would hook up my DP32. I would hook it up to an amplifier using the monitor outs on the back here. So these guys here, the monitor outs right there. And I would simply raise the faders on the two vocals. So there we go. And yeah, and on your screen here, so if you're at home, if I were to, let's just go to the screen here. On here, I would use the trim knobs up top here on the inputs to set my levels on the screen there. So I would see how loud is the drums, how are they sounding, and yeah, you can, and and then you could even do other things if you wanted to at this point. So this is all it would be sending, is just it would just be, you'd be listening to tracks 1 and 2, which is, in this would have been in my case the vocals, and it would have come through my speakers, so everybody would have heard that. All this would have been down, so you wouldn't have had to deal with any bleeding or feedback or anything, because it's all down. It's not part of it. It's just it's there. It's getting recorded, but it's not getting used. It's a great way to do it. Honestly, it really is. And then you don't have to deal with the junk that I dealt with, because I wasn't very smart in getting a hum eliminator. And even though I'm glad I got this, I got this really cheap, and I will not get rid of it because it works very well. So I'm not getting rid of that. That's gonna stay with me for as long as it lasts. And then so then you get rid of that. You deal with the issue of you don't have bleed, you don't have the chance of getting feedback of a microphone getting too close to one of your speakers and suddenly getting a loop, because you just have to worry about the vocal mics. So that's what I should have done. And the other nice thing is, in this case, I could have gone over here, and could have clicked on effects. I could have turned on the effects on here, and then on the mixer for track 1, I could go in here and I could say, you know what, I would like to hear a little bit of reverb. So there, I'm setting myself up to use the internal reverb. But the way I was doing it was, I was using, I'll show you again. This guy here, over here, has an effects channel. You can just see the LED there. It's hard to get in there, but you can see it has its own little programmable LED stuff for that. So that's how we were doing reverb on it for our vocals. But yeah, I could have done it all in here. Now that I know this, this is how we do it. Now granted, once I got the Model 24, this system went out the window. Well, it didn't go out the window, but I didn't use it anymore for that, because what's the point? You have the Model 24, which is designed to do this stuff. And yeah, I would rather use that than this. This is still good. This is still a good setup. If you can't afford a Model 24 or a Model 16, this will work great. So yeah, that is how I would do it. It's very easy to do. Like I said, I would set it up. Let's just go recap one more time. Go back to this one here. So on the inputs, the way I would do it if I was dealing with a 3-piece, even a 4-piece, if you were able to just have one vocalist or whatever, so vocals, possible vocals or guitar, and you could do like same here. You could do it this way. It depends how you do it. Like, because we were a 3-piece, so I could have done vocal guitar, vocal bass, or vocal bass, vocal guitar, and then kick, snare, overheads. Or you can do Glenn John one, or you can do the one microphone one if you want for the drums. If you got a lot of people to deal with. There's so many ways of doing this. There's so many ways. This is where creativity comes into play. That's where it comes into play when you want to record and have a live session recording. And like I said, this machine is great for it. It will do it. And you could even, if you were so inclined, you could even take this to a show and use it as your PA if you just have a certain amount of vocals and you're certain, what you want to do. It is a great little machine. So I hope that helps you out, and I will talk to you later. Bye.